Good evening. Thank you so much. First of all, our solidarity is with all the victims from war, particularly with the people of Palestine. And around the globe, those African countries that people are losing their life. Today I'm here to echo what is the situation of Afghan women inside of Afghanistan. I do understand the international media have been occupied by Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, but there's also another catastrophe where affecting more than 40 million population in this earth. Just simply the country where 3 years back was your allies, 3 years back standing with you, 3 years back Afghans work under your flag, and your flag was wrapping inside of that country. We cannot forget simply they are human. And the Afghan women's situation inside of Afghanistan and also outside of Afghanistan is not really pleasant. Why? We've been through so much. We are in the stage that inside of our country, even we are not counting as a human being. The lack of recognition of human rights, the lack of any kind of legal document between citizen and state, and the systematic erase of Afghan women from the society, which is, I simply call it gender apartheid in Afghanistan. It's screaming very loud. The situation of the children in Afghanistan is also not a very good situation. And if you see overall the picture of a country where have been paid millions of lives without knowing why, it's time for us to stand with the values that European Union, European Parliament believe and trust on. It's time to pay back the good friendship and the shared efforts we made in Afghanistan. It's time to restore back justice and equality for a nation where today they don't have a voice. It's time to be voice of them. Voice of those speechless people where they cannot reach anywhere. It's time to give a clear picture out of geopolitical and political policies or individual. It's time to do not compromise with anyone about the rights of women, neither in Afghanistan, neither in any part of the world. So this is my message for you. I'm a woman. For 27 years, I worked during the first Taliban inside of Afghanistan. I lost my 2 kids, and still after 27 years of effort, putting my life and my kids' life in danger, still I'm asking for the rights of education. Still I'm asking to be counted as a human being in my country. Still I'm looking for a government to represent my people. Still I'm asking for justice. Is that justice? Is that what is 21st century? Is that what we should be? I think it's time for every citizen in the globe to wake up and stop the war machine, stop the extremists, stop any fight under the name of race, religion, country, geography, poor and wealth. Our blood is not white, it's red. We are also human, same as you are. I also have a daughter, which is she likes to be educated. She wants to work. She wants to raise her kids inside of Afghanistan. But those are just a dream. I have students, more than 1,000 inside of Afghanistan, that daily basis they ask me, Professor, when the things will change, when we will go to university, when we will go back to our normal life. It's been 3 years. And this is the time we want to see action. Action from those nations, individuals, organizations, and collective efforts, such as European Parliament, to stand for the rights of Afghan under the name of humanity, to stand with the rights of human rights globally and generally, without any discrimination. We shouldn't politicize human rights anymore. Humans are human, no matter if it's Jew, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, or whatever. We should respect the human dignity. And this is the time that we should say to the world that all those international conventions are not piece of show. Those international conventions was made efforts to make this earth to be a better place to live, Those convention is about equality. Those convention is about human rights. Those convention is about this new modern world and about globalization. And let's prove we are not playing politics with other rights. Thank you.
Merci pour ce plaidoyer.
Thank you for that plea. We note it. Who would like to take the floor next? We didn't specify the order, as you wish.
I'm not sure where to start because today has been actually a good day. In spite of all the difficult times that Afghan women and us in the diaspora and Afghan women in exile have experienced, finally today I felt like maybe our voices have been heard. I felt like it's being echoed back to us, and I felt the support. So first and foremost, thank you for that. When I went to Afghanistan during the Taliban in 2022, I went to connect with the women rights activists. I saw brave Afghan women without anything, without even any financial support, they have been basically ripped off all their rights, but they still were gathering, going out on the streets, standing in front of a complete soldier with weapons and saying, I demand my rights. That kind of courage is what has made my voice louder in here. And I promised them that we will not forget them. We will not let the world forget them. And when I told them, do you really believe when you stand and say, I want my rights, that he will give you that? The answer was no. They're not communicating with the Taliban. They're communicating with us who promised them to stand by them. The world who completely left them alone all of a sudden, but they have not given up. We are not asking just to help us. We are saying partner with us. We are taking the lead. We are fighting inside and outside Afghanistan, but we cannot fight it without the support of us who believe in human rights, us who call ourselves women rights activists, human rights activists. I know times will change because it always does, and we will make sure that it does. And there will be few who will be able to still call themselves human rights activists. Let's stand on the right side of history and help us, support us to also codify gender apartheid as a crime in the international law. Let's make a collective campaign against gender apartheid, because that will help us keep Taliban, and not just Taliban, but anywhere where it's happening gender apartheid. For example, also in Iran, it will give us a tool to be able to bring them to the court. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have say something shortly. Who I am standing here. I am the one woman from Afghanistan. On that country, the women are removed systematically from the society. They are not go to the school. They are not go to the work. They are not go to the society. And they are not systematically, they removed for the society. And just, I'm calling for the European Union and the world and the human rights activists and the human rights committee and the who and which countries support the human rights. Please stand behind of the Afghan women, because the Afghan women should lead their country, and the Afghan women, they are the alternative of the Taliban in Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is difficult for me to address only one problem that Taliban committed in Afghanistan. However, since 3 years, Taliban committed dozens, hundreds, thousands of cases, human rights violations in Afghanistan. Taliban are corrupted groups. Taliban are doing corruption. Taliban committed war crime. Taliban committed humanity crimes. And Taliban violated human rights in Afghanistan. Afghanistan signed the numerous of treaties in the past. Unfortunately, since Taliban came to the power, they broke all the treaties. Afghanistan was joined with anti-torture convention. Unfortunately, since Taliban came, they never respect for the anti-torture convention. They arrest the protesters, they imprison the protesters, and they killed many people with torture inside of the prison. Taliban doing gender apartheid. They never respect for the CEDAW convention. Taliban broke all the regulation to respect all the convention that Afghanistan signed it. I think that, if possible, establish an international monitoring mechanism through the UN and European Union to document human rights violation against women in Afghanistan. This could lead to accountability measures and further pressure to the Taliban. Thank you very much.
If you agree, I will now open the floor to questions. Do we have questions in the room? I don't see any question. We have people connected online. Yes, sorry. Emmanuel.
Bonjour, Emmanuel Trosser pour Bruxelles.
Bruxelles 2. Are there fears that EU-Taliban relations will be normalised without any kind of sign? The last declaration was quite clear, perhaps for Mr. Munir Saturi.
La crainte que pour...
The fear that reason will prevail in the situation on the ground. Well, lots of reasons, because it's easier to talk about humanitarian issues and health. That fear is still there. The message I wanted to be put across today was, regardless of why, including realpolitik, we don't have the right to normalise relations with the regime, and we need to carry on crying that from the rooftops. As we've just heard, there are other conflicts elsewhere. We in the EP and in Europe have been concerned with two conflicts: Russia, Ukraine, and the Near East, and what's happening in Afghanistan. That's less visible in the media, so we need to remind people that we need to carry on looking at this, the fate of the Afghan men and women, because there are men also that have been involved in this, and it merits repeating. We need to stand firmer, and I hope that Thursday's resolution will be enough. In terms of gender apartheid, that needs to go into the resolution, and mobilisation against the regime needs to be on the agenda.
Can I add something to? Yeah, okay, there's a question, sure.
Please feel free to respond.
Yeah, I would like to mention that we should not forget, as we had been kind of, what's happening in Afghanistan is not coming as a shock for us, because we were expecting it, knowing the Taliban. So I can almost stand here and tell what's next. Let's not wait when they come in our countries again, as it has happened, and before we take action. Because right now, Afghanistan has become a terrorist heaven. There are terrorist groups operating inside Afghanistan, and that can have enormous consequences, not just for Afghanistan, but for the entire world. So if not for them, for us, ourselves, we should stop that from happening.
There's two other questions in the room. I will ask you to make them short, please, because we have interpretation only for 5 minutes more.
Ouais.
Thank you.
Donc, Monsieur El-Mali, journaliste de la...
I'm a journalist from Kurdish television. The European Union, what can it do specifically? What should it do for women? The Afghan issue is very much linked to the issue of women. So, Mr. Munir, as a parliamentarian as well, you're better placed to look at where to take things.
L'envie de réponse, je ne fuis pas.
Well, I'm not going to dodge that, but please go ahead first.
Well, what European Parliament cannot do. European Parliament is not an institution just only for Europe. Europe means some values, history. I think codifying gender apartheid, European Parliament can do that. Standing and recognizing the efforts of Afghan women, or simply the way European Union like to start engagement with the Taliban, European Parliament, European Union can start being engaged and giving floor to the women of Afghanistan and give them protocol. Why our effort cannot be seen, cannot be named, cannot be counted? The loss of Afghans is a big loss. And remember, if we let things to be normalized, one day the extremism will knock on your door here. Because what is today going on in Afghanistan, we lost democracy and such a bad dictatorship when. Is that what you want to deliver a message as a result of democracy, results of being allies with Western, results of working, results of letting all the flags and nations to be in your country, and again you will let your country to be a safe haven for all terrorist groups and activity? I think it's time for European Parliament, European nation to rethink and recount whom they stand and what they like to do. It's not only about Afghanistan, it's about the values. It's about what European thinking they innovate, they bring, and they are the founder of those values, which is we called equality, we called justice, we called women's rights, we called human rights. Simple as that. We are not asking anyone to bring star from the sky. We ask everyone according to their capacity. Just be loyal with us and just recognize. Just give us a place. How good will be if we can collaborate together? If Afghan women have, in a very civilized way, an office here, guess in Strasbourg, you will have all the update, first-hand news. You will be able to cooperate with Afghanistan, with your allies. You will be able to solve the problem of millions of people through one recognition, not more. Sorry, maybe I'm too high demand women, but this is what I have been here 22 years back as a journalist, then as a member of parliament, then as a head of defense committee, then as an ambassador. But today, people are going up. I'm an advocate. Still, I'm proud about the journey I had, but I don't want my fellow Afghans, younger generation, to suffer the way we've been suffered. It's time to pray back, or to pay back the trust we had, the life we paid, and the dignity we believe.
As you said so well, that maybe we should start what we should stop doing, then first start doing. normalizing of the Taliban is not just about acknowledging that, yes, we are. It's about traveling there, taking pictures, smiling. It's about having no strategy and having meetings with them all the time. It's about believing in what they say instead of seeing what they're doing. It's about telling us again and again. I feel sometimes, I'm sorry to use, but a bit gaslighted at times. Like when I tell them this was going to happen, this is not coming as a shock, that Taliban believes even my voice is forbidden, I was told no. There are some in the group that actually believes in education and women's rights and human rights. Where are those Taliban then? Why are they not doing anything? So first and foremost, maybe we should stop believing what Taliban are saying and start believing what we are communicating and what we have been communicating in 3 years, because we have wasted so much of our precious time listening to what they have to say. Let's connect with the civil society. Let's connect with the Afghan women. Let's connect with the groups and parties, whatever, that are fighting Taliban right now. Let's give them platform, because they should be the future of Afghanistan. They will be the future of Afghanistan, and they should be the ones we partner. I think we have been so Taliban centralized and focused that we have forgotten that we actually, someone said so bravely, which I love, that leverage requires courage. Let's first accept that we can do something and then listen to what we have been saying in all these years, and we still have a lot to say. There are a lot happening, not just only women movement, but men are also having, things are happening. There are political parties. Let's find them, connect with them, give them platform. And what we're doing today, this means a lot. You're listening to us. You're giving us platform. It's huge itself. Thank you.